Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I finally get my 1988 Ford Mustang GT Project White Trash back on the ground and off the jack stands for the first time since 1999. You'll notice a repeating pattern in this video where I mentioned that it's been 25 years since the car's been on the ground, like 10 or 50 or 100 times. A lot of that is because I started this 6 months ago, and then other things happened. I procrastinated, I wasted some time, and then Junior's car broke a bunch, again and again and again. So I've spent a lot of time trying to keep his 1982 Mustang running and on the street. That way we have our fun car. So I put my car aside for a long time, but that is over now. Hopefully things are gonna snowball and escalate quickly with white trash. I've ordered a whole lot of stuff for it that'll be here in the next week or so, and I'm actually hoping the first week in September, coming up here real soon, I'm going to be able to stab the engine and the transmission, start working on the fuel system, and things are really going to get going, and hopefully the car will be ready here soon. But anyway, I hope you'll check this out and follow along and laugh along at our frustration. Junior's not here right now. He's getting ready for one of his many social engagements, but he did help me throughout this project on and off, back and forth. But I'm just going to get this video out and get it published because I am that excited about it. We interrupt our regularly scheduled welding program to bring you some late breaking news. I found the stock struts and the brake dust shields along with all of the bolts that go with them. So I can't believe this, but I think I'm actually going to be able to put the front suspension back together. Incredible. So I'm going to try to get this done before moving on to back to some welding, because I was just welding because I couldn't put the front end back together. The boy just reminded me that I don't need these factory struts. All I need is the factory caster camber plates, the attaching nuts and bolts, and these were a big part of why I couldn't put the car back together. But I have these new KYBs. New. Yeah, they were given to me for free along with the caster camber plates that I put on Junior's car, but they have a lot more pressure in them than the factory 1988 struts. Really glad I found those struts and those caster camber plates and stuff, because without that stuff I was planning on getting in the car, but my family sort of had other ideas. Yes, there's a car back there. There's a car back there, but my car has turned into a storage compartment and shelf again, so I've got to clear all this before I can get inside. Fun. I finally got the stock caster camber plates and all the hardware I need off of the factory struts. Now it's time to rebuild them. Rebuilt. Completely rebuilt. So fresh they may as well be new old stock, straight from Ford. Yep. Nothing to see here. The rust restore is definitely bonding to every surface, because there's no way I left any residual grease anywhere. Not a chance at all. I mean, I did run them through a professional parts washer. By parts washer, I mean my kitchen sink, which my wife totally doesn't mind at all. Believe it or not, I do have a real parts washer. Never seen it because it's always broken. It's currently broken. It's been broken a long time, and I haven't gotten around to fix it. Not fixing it today. Sounds like a future Chris problem, but these are completely rebuilt and ready to install. All right, well, these are dry now. Junior flipped them over earlier when he got home and sprayed the other side, so they're ready to go in. Sadly, I'm not going to have time to install this and do my front suspension today, but hey, it's something. I completely forgot that I needed to clean up the brake dust shields before I reinstalled them. So here we are once again at the parts washer, aka ye old kitchen sink, which my wife totally doesn't mind me doing. And greasing these things and getting them ready to reinstall. doing some rear suspension work on Project White Trash. You might recognize these as the upper or the rear control arms I took off Junior's car. You can't really tell it here very well, but the reason these came out of Junior's car is because they basically tore out. The back of these bolt holes on these upper control arms was completely ripped out. What I've done is off camera a few months ago when I got my welder around Christmas is I took a pretty thick heavy duty washer and welded it over where the bolt hole is. I used a good control arm to measure this up and figure out where the bolt hole should be, and I used the front of the original bolt hole. And what happened was the bolt hole, these ripped out the back. So I'm using this bolt and I'm trying to fill these in. And I did a lot of this off camera, and I used a flux core to start, and now I'm trying to go back over with some arc welding. See if I can get it a little better. Obviously, this is very beginner stuff. I did this around Christmas or New Year's, and it is now May, I believe. So these weren't really a big deal. If I break them, destroy them, ruin them, I'll just get another cheap knockoff pair like the ones that are in Junior's car, which these probably are anyway. But I'm going to try to clean these up a little bit, see if I can reinforce these and make them strong. Whoop, shit, that's hot. Damn it. This one is just barely tacked on here. I'm going to see if I can reinforce that. And I'll show you them when I'm done. I'm aware of how horrible and hideous and ugly these are. I wanted to make them thick and strong. Try to get the materials bonded as well as possible. I'm going to go back and grind these down and inspect them. And then add what needs added, if it needs added. I'm not concerned with pretty. I just want this thing to stay in one piece. Definitely some work to do. You go through and touch it up, finish grinding the insides, re-drill the hole a little bit since I kind of messed it up. But I think here soon I'll have a sturdy set of control arms again. I am finally back after 2 or 3 months. I don't even know. It is May. I don't remember when the last time I touched this thing was, but finally back to it. I've just hand installed the first front strut, and I'm going to try to get the brake shield on here, and I'm going to try to get some little minor stuff done for the first time in quite a long time. Right now I'm just mocking everything up and seeing how it goes. I'm just putting all these pieces on here so I don't lose them. My spindle nut. I found these, the brake shield, the brake dust shields. I'm just hand tightening these. Got my nut on here, which that is actually, I am actually installing that for now. I'm going to tighten that down here in a little bit. I'm about to put the brakes on, and it's not a final install. I'm not quite there yet. I'm just making sure I've got all the pieces and mocking everything up and seeing how it goes. When I put it together for the final time, I'm going to clean all this up, grease it all up. Just trying to get the car pieced back together for now. It looks like I actually have all the pieces to put everything together and get ready to put the front end on the ground. I've got the brake rotors over there on the ground. They're pretty rusty and nasty. I'm going to have Junior clean those up for me. And once he does that, I'm going to put new wheel bearings in it. And I think I'm ready to permanent mount all this stuff. Going to level with you. I cannot remember how the stock struts go together at all. I don't think this is correct. I think that other piece that's on the bottom is supposed to come up here, but I can't figure out how else to assemble them. I'm going to have to do some research. They're just kind of mocked up for now. I'll have to fix it later. Clearly I'm going to need new front soft lines for my front brake calipers. I knew that day was coming. You can't leave these things sitting around for 25 years and expect them to hold. I was just hoping I didn't have to deal with that. I could deal with that later rather than sooner. But I will have to do these before I get the car running. Good times. Here's the other side all mocked up. As soon as I can get the brake rotors cleaned up and get new wheel bearings, I'm going to go ahead and come back through here with grease, and I'm going to go ahead and put all of this back together, get the front end mounted. I'm going to try to get the steering column mounted, and then I'm going to get some tires for this thing, and I'm going to try to get this thing on the ground. I decided not to wait on the boy. Decided I would come and give the brake rotors a little wire wheel myself. The bearing doesn't look bad. I just greased it right before and put all this together right before the car was parked. Bearing doesn't look bad at all. I think I'm going to dip it in some grease, reassemble it, see how it spins on the car. And I now have both front rotors installed, spinning smoothly, feel good, no slack. Got both side brakes back on. Now when this car gets moving, I'm gonna have to take this all back apart. I'm sure the bearings will go out. I'll need new brake pads. I can paint the calipers then. I'll probably take the calipers off and paint them when I get new brake lines, because the brake lines are going bad. But this feels good though. I got both sides on, both sides are spinning freely, feel good. Just one small little victory. Alright, it's been several weeks, but I'm finally back. I finally found my spring compressor and my Eibach drag springs. I found all 4 of them, so I'm going to try to put at least the front on today. Hello, baby girl. Hey, Janie. Old lady cat came for a visit. She's going to run away as soon as I fire up the air tools. Oh, by the way, don't use an impact wrench on your spring compressor. It's supposedly a super bad idea. Yeah, don't do what I do. Wow, this thing really does not want to compress. That is a lot of time and effort with the impact wrench, and barely got any compression. That was absolutely horrible and terrible, and I hated everything about it. Finally got this stupid thing together. Of course I had to assemble the strut assembly the wrong way first before doing it the correct way. But now part of my spring compressor is just permanently part of the spring itself, and I have no idea how to get that out without taking the whole thing apart. Really don't want to do that. Alright, this sucked really badly, but everything is back together. Everything is mounted properly and permanently, and the spring is in, and I finally got the spring compressor out. The brakes are set, the strut and the strut tower are set up properly, and I'm gonna go see if I have a tire that'll hold any air. I don't think I do. I did not have any lug nuts, so I had to go and buy some. These technically fit, but man, they thread in deep into this tire. I think when I go back to get my other set of lug nuts that I ordered, I think I'm gonna get some large washers to put in here, because I just don't like how deep inside the hole these lug nuts go. I'm not comfortable with that. I don't remember the factory lug nuts being that small. But anyway, I have a tire on the car for the first time in 25 years. And if I can get the other side done today, I think I'm going to put the front end on the ground. So I managed to wrestle the spring in finally. It drove me insane. The spring compressor kept bending the spring sideways. The opposite direction I needed it to bend. I finally got it in, and now the spring compressor is just completely stuck in there. So now I've got the boy over here, and we're going to take turns hitting it from opposite sides using the spring compressor bolt. We're going to put it on here and hammer it from opposite sides and try to spin it down the coil so we can try to get it loose. That absolutely did not work. We're firing up the air compressor, and we're gonna have to take things apart, and God, I'm gonna have to try to do the entire spring again. Probably it's probably gonna come flying out of there. This will be fun. This is not happening. I've had enough, so it is Guad time, the grinder wheel of death. Alright, I forgot to take a video, but we got the spring compressor out. We have this tire on. Brakes and the rotor are rubbing a little bit, but we're about to put the front of the car on the ground for the first time in 25 years. Here we are, white trash, the front end anyway, is touching the ground for the first time since 1999. We got some alignment issues. The tires, they are not straight, of course, but it is on the ground. No jack stands up front anyway. Here we are preparing to go underneath Project White Trash. Actually under here to work for the first time in 25 years. This car has been on those jack stands since 1999, and it is 2024. Please ignore all the dust. It's been 25 years, okay? And you can ignore the bookshelf over here. My goal is to move that bookshelf out of the way, get to that tire, get the weld wheel on over there, and hopefully get this thing on the ground here soon. And yes, I can read. I can hear it now. No need to comment. I am capable of reading. Hard to believe, I know. And here we go. It is officially off the jack stands for the first time in 25 years. Looks pretty good under here. Completely forgot I didn't have any shocks in it. So you can see everything bouncing like crazy. I finally scooted the car over a little and made just a little bit of space to get in here to this rear passenger tire to put the last weld rim on. Yeah, ignore the mess. I said it's been 25 years. And as soon as we got the car touching the ground on all four wheels, I had to put it right back up on jack stands because I forgot I have no shocks. And I've got to install the new springs and the new upper and lower control arms. Good times. Well, I'm not going to get the suspension on the car today because I completely forgot I had to go back and clean these up a little. And yes, this is after the cleanup. I had to drill out these welds again, drill out those holes. I had to smooth out the inside so that it doesn't chew up the bearings. And then they were just greasy and nasty and disgusting, and we just finished washing them. So all this old rubberized crappy paint is coming off. We're going to take them out here in a minute, hit them with some flat black because that's all we have. And then we have a work stoppage for the day for back to school things. So I guess I'll try to get these on the car tomorrow. Alright, we got a quick and dirty rattle can paint job on these things. They're going to sit out in the sun and bake a while. You can see that some of these spots are so rusty and oily and greasy, no matter how much we cleaned them. Paint doesn't really want to stick to them, but whatever. And these are the ones off Junior's car last year. They were already pretty ragged and beaten down. Just for right now, they're going to go on white trash to get it on the ground, and I don't really care how beaten down it is, so it doesn't matter. Here are the control arms. Yep, the paint ran a little bit. They're pug fugly, but don't care. They're going on the car as soon as they're completely dry. Here we are the next day. I've already gotten one lower control arm in. I've already pulled this side upper control arm, and I'm about to put the new upper in. I just realized that I have these garbage factory rubber bushings up here for the upper control arm on the rear differential housing. I hate those things. It's got the tooth the tooth rods in the middle, the bolt rods. That's what tore up Junior's control arms. I really thought I changed these out years ago, but I guess that was on one of my other cars. So I'm sure I'll be doing this entire job again in a few months. Well, we are down to our very last control arm. We have 3 of them on. This one did not want to go on. Who would have thought that the custom welded, custom drilled, remade control arm would have angle issues? But we're down to our last one, and I had to break and go to the parts store because it turns out some idiot mixed up half the control arm bolts from 7/16 by 14 to metrics. It's me. I'm that idiot. One of my many suspension changes when I was younger. I'm sure I did it. So half our stuff is 7/16 14, which I believe is factory from Ford, and the other half of it is M12 by 1.75. Say hello, the boy. So well spoken. Well, this last control arm practically fell into place with no effort. We had to jack up that side of the differential to get this spring in, and I have no idea how we're going to get the other spring in because this was tight enough with nothing on the other side. That was actually incredibly easy. We don't have any spring isolators, so I just lubed the living crap out of the spring perches with axle grease. I just realized we're about to put in the shocks. We have one shock bolt, and I don't know where the other one went. I could have sworn it was in there. So we got to look around for a similar part to try to get this to fit. And the rear suspension is done. Thanks to Chris Jr. for all the help. He has to go change. He's got a social event. We've got all the control arms, the springs, the shocks, everything double and triple checked, everything tightened down at ride height. And it is time to put the wheels on and put her on the ground for the first time in 25 years. Have I mentioned yet that it's been 25 years? I got both welds on. I pushed the car over a few inches. It is ready to go on the ground for the first time. I kind of forgot how much I hate wrestling weld lug nuts. Once they're on, they look amazing, and I love them. But it is time. Here it is on the ground for the first time since 1999. All 4 wheels. Check it out. I can even push it back and forth. Running over a bunch of junk here in the garage, but I can push it back and forth. It rolls nice and smooth. Thank you for watching. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll have another video that I've also been working on for about 6 months coming out. That'll be all about the body work that I've been trying to do and trying to get the car structurally sound to roll again. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it.